Oh, can't touch this. Hi guys, Dane here out in the man cave. This here is the Harbor Freight motorcycle lift. It's the cheaper one of the two, but since my middle name is Finkelstein, we got the one that's $80 versus the one that's $180. The more expensive one looks like it's probably a little bit better built and a little bit more sturdy. A couple things just real quick. You will not find a sack of nuts and bolts to put this together. They are in place, if you will, so you'll be looking for a sack of nuts and you're not going to find one. So like the bolts for the jack to the frame, they're in place. The little pin and the cotter pin, it's in place. There's a little screw, let's see, on top of the pedal thingy that jacks the jack up and down, and then the bolts on this little stop bar here, they're in place too. So you will not find a sack of nuts. And that being said, if you do not have a sack of nuts, you don't even think about a Suzuki DR650. Okay, a couple things just real quick. You step on this to lift it up, and then to lower it, there's this pedal down here. This stop bar automatically lays down when you lower it. It kicks it out of position. I'll show you that in a minute. And I made some modifications to it, and I'll go over there in a second, but try to go quickly. I made another video, but I was way too long-winded. But as this, see, I'm pressing this thing here, but you use your foot. And then so once you get to the stop bar deal, that drops down, and then you lower it just a hair with the lower pedal, okay, and then these lock into place on these little welds here. The DR650 sitting on the ground, the bottom of the bike is 12 inches, so the first stop bar will not work. So you just keep going until you get to the second stop bar, and then once you get past that, again, you press on the lower one a little bit, and then that locks into place. And then I'm going to go up to the third one. Okay, and then lower it just a hair. Okay, so that's in the lock position. That's in the third position, and I don't use the third position. The bike's too high in the air, and this is, you know, in my opinion, it's uncomfortably wobbly. What I did do was I added some 2x3s, and you can use 2x4s. Anybody can come up with whatever. So I added some 2x3s, 13 inches long, and then I bought a cheapy floor mat and stapled it to the top upside down. So the rubber side is up, it's got a cushion, and with the rubber side up, the bike stays put. It doesn't want to slip. It's really quite solid. And then over on the front, or where the front of the bike is, I cut a wedge piece to compensate for where the front of the frame comes, and then it goes up, and that wedge piece helps keep the bike level, because when I want the bike in the air, I want it level, especially when I'm changing the oil and things like that. You do not need a bike lift to change the oil. You can just kick it on its kickstand, take the bolt out, drain the oil, take the filter out, replace it. That's not necessary. But for chain maintenance, lubing the chain, adjusting it, rear suspension, front suspension, you're going to want to get one of these. So what you do when you're ready to let the bike down, you got to raise it up just a hair to get the stop bar out from behind the weld there, the little weldy stoppy thingies. So you just raise it up an RCH. And if you're a surveyor, you know what an RCH is. Then you take this stop bar, and then that locks into place. There's a little clippy deal that holds it. And then very gently with the bottom pedal, you just press it down with your foot. Hold on to your bike, okay? And then this thing goes down, goes down, goes down, and then lays flat. And when you get to a point, there's a little stubby deal on the jack that kicks that down. So when you start lifting it back up for the next time or whatever, that stop bar is already down and in position, so that when you lift it up, you don't have to mess with it. The 1 inch here, 2 inches here, the cattywamper on about a 27-degree angle, so it'll look about like that, because when you cut one side, you actually get two pieces, obviously, that are opposing, and that compensates for the deal. And then so I took the top of this thing off, drilled through it, center line of the deal, and about 1 inch back. Let me get my flashlight out. And the one thing I had to do, I don't know if you can see that, but I had to take my angle grinder and kind of notch out just a little notch, so when I lower it, it lies flat. Okay? All right, got the bike in the air. It's on the second stop. Like I said, right down there, the little angle iron is at the stop point, and rear tires in the air. Okay, so you can work on your back end, chain, suspension. Front tires in the air. Any work or whatever you need to do there. But again, this wedge, you can see how the frame tapers up. The lighting's a little bit poor, but you could see how much lower that front end would be if I had not done that. And again, you don't have to do this. I mean, you can take it all the way up to level 3, and bike could be sitting up there on a cattywamper. But anyways, I'm pretty happy with the little modification. And by the way, I enter the bike on the right side, and then the kickstand would be on the opposing side there. You can do it however you want to, but that's the way I'm going to do it. I'm real happy with the way that came out. Maybe this is better lighting. There's that wedge piece that kind of compensates for that frame, but I'm real happy with it. Okay, try not to get too long-winded, and I'll try to do this with one hand, but bike's in the air and stop bar's in place. So like I said, you just want to lift it up just a hair. That's on the up deal down there. Just lift it up a RCH, kick that stop bar out of the way, keep your hand on it, and then let it down gently like so. And that kicks that bar out of the way. Now the jack's laying flat, bike's on the ground.